Hello, I'm Casey Felt, John's American History teacher, and I'm here to talk to you about the accomplishments he has made in my class and the things that I think we can do to help him along the way. So John does have Tourette syndrome and bipolar disorder, and although he has a new tic every 2 weeks, it doesn't really seem to affect his education. It does kind of affect his environment, as in the students around sometimes are very distracted, and sometimes John, feels a little insecure depending on how severe the tic may be at the time. So one thing I really want to focus on in the future is creating a great environment for him to work on his assignments without interference. And I see that after high school he wants to be a teacher, which I think is fantastic and absolutely attainable for him. Let's see. Okay, so I can look at his grades right now, and I see that he is doing very well. In my class, he has a B at the moment, which is right on track. He's doing very well. Every assignment he at least does his best on. Not every assignment is perfect, but, that's what's expected. So there's one assignment he has not turned in yet, but if he turns that in, he will have an A in the class. So we'll work on getting that turned in, and we'll talk about that later. But I do see that he's doing very well, so that's great. My class is set up so that every week I assign 2 chapters to be read per student. So a lot of times students will read these chapters on their own time, by themselves, on the weekend, individually at home. I have recently set up a reading session for struggling readers after school, for them to gather together and to read and then discuss the material that's gone over to help them attain the information. So although John is a wonderful reader, I've seen him read in class, read out loud, read by himself, and he's a wonderful reader, but sometimes I do not think that what he is reading is actually being attained. So I think it'd be really good for John to be placed into this after-school reading program, for him to sit with students, with his peers, and for them to discuss the material so that when he does do the assignments, he is fully prepared. He has a full grasp of what's in order. So it's a block schedule. So sometimes I'll have 2 days with him a week, sometimes I'll have 3 days with him a week. Often I'll do one day of lecturing, and I will kind of just elaborate on the information that the students have read, which again is very important that they have read so they will understand my lecture. And then often I will give group work. So this is often either a discussion or a worksheet or project that groups will collaborate on to share their information and their ideas and their opinions, and that is normally due at the end of the week. There's also a time that I think students should be taking notes during my lectures in order to help get my students prepared for the assignment at hand. A lot of my students have been taking notes, and I think that's another thing that would really help John. But often, if his tic is very severe, it's hard for him to take notes, such as if the tic hinders his handwriting or so. So one thing that I would love to implement that I think would really help John is to give him a computer from our technology center. And this computer will just be for him to carry around, to have at home, to look at his notes, to have in class, to take notes, because often the tic will hinder his handwriting, but he will still be able to type. So, or even there's a software where he can record my lectures, which is great for him to go back and hear and understand, just in case, he does have a tic that will hinder that. So every weekend, students will be taking home a packet, and this packet is kind of a study guide that prepares them for the test coming up. It's got some extra material and kind of goes over what we learned in class, so it would be great if you could look at that with him and make sure he's understanding, and if for any reason his tic at that time hinders him with a study guide, we can always try and find, I can make a study guide on the internet for him to use, an interactive study guide. There are always means of getting the information across, and I'm here and I want you to communicate with me and to communicate with John so that we kind of all understand what's expected and there's no surprises, is what I would really hope for the future. Okay, so far I can see that John has been doing very well. The majority of the assignments he either has an A or B in, which is great. The last one he turned in, he even got 100%, which shows that he is really learning and listening to the critiques and comments I put on the last assignments, and so that showed a lot of growth and a lot of maturity. There's one assignment that he has yet to turn in. He keeps saying that he's left it at home, and so if for some time after this you could meet with him and hopefully find that, or I'd be glad to give him another one just to fill out and repeat. He will get a little points off for it being late, but it is definitely something that will help his grade. So the alternate accommodations we made for him, like I said, the after-school reading would be great. I would love to implement that as soon as possible, and a computer to type his assignments. But also, lately, I have been thinking about giving him an alternate testing assignment, or alternate testing location. So this means going to another room with either me or the teacher aide, and just letting him have a place to do his own work and to really have quiet and peace and sound, and not have to worry about his peers or what they're thinking or what they're saying, and he'll have just his own place, his own time. And that I think we'll only need to implement for testing. You can see he's made great progress. For a while he was kind of staying at the same pace, but lately I can see that he has had a lot of growth. 3 things I want to cover real quick. Means of representation, which means that I would like to increase my teaching style to help John and the rest of my students. That means not only lecturing, but videos or research assignments for them to find their own way of learning the material, and I think that'll be really important for John especially. And then the means of action and expression, which means I will give John a way for him to kind of present his information in a way that best suits him. So that means not only